All right, what is going on, guys? Wingman Plus back here with another video. And I'm so excited to have a really special guest on the show today. I've got Alex from Playing with Fire. I was actually very recently on a video on his channel. You can go check it out. We talked pretty much everything text game in that video, and stoked to have Alex on the channel here for you guys. Guy's been doing it forever. Alex, why don't you kind of introduce yourself and tell everyone about yourself?
Thanks, man. I'm excited to be here. I run a channel called Playing with Fire. We specialize in giving practical, no bullshit dating advice. So we just pretty much everything we talk about is things that either I've tested or that's based on other things that people have tested. So yeah, we just do very straightforward, practical dating advice. Mainly we're known for doing like Tinder stuff and online dating. So like profiles, bio, text game. But we also do much more than that. We do like debates and we do cool podcasts, and I have some cold approach in the field. So yeah, just anything dating related, or even to be a better version of yourself, being the ultimate man. Probably got a video on it.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, you've done it all. Like, I go through YouTube, I see your channel every day. It seems like you post pretty much daily uploads on YouTube.
Yeah, 5 days a week for videos, and then like the other 2 days I do shorts.
That's awesome, man. So no, super stoked to have you on the platform here. I
Sweet.
know, like, when we did a live stream on your channel, we talked a lot about like text game, and we
Mhm.
went really deep there. And I think it'd be cool to kind of on this video talk more about like the profiles and the front end of the funnel and how to get matches and everything like that. And one topic I've seen you talk about on your channel quite a bit is like SMV. And maybe for people who are watching this and they're not familiar with that term, do you mind like kind of refreshing what SMV is?
Sure. SME stands for sexual market value. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying how attractive you are to the opposite sex. So a more basic way of saying it would be looks, money, status. But I think there's more to your SME than looks, money, status, which is why I go off SMB. So again, so what is SMB going to compose of? Well, it's going to be again your looks, your fitness, your style, kind of how you carry yourself, your status, your social circle, to a small extent, maybe your financial situation, although I think that's a lot less important than people make it out to be. Yeah, all that kind of stuff that all falls under SMV.
Awesome, man. And would you say like, are some men absolutely helpless, or are there things that like any guy can do to increase his SMV?
Well, I think anyone can increase their SMB for sure. I think pretty much anyone, like if you haven't started yet working on your SMB, you can increase it by at least 2 points, maybe 2.5, depending how bad you are. If you're like a 300-pound guy, you can increase your SMB by 4 or 5 points. But if you're like, not obese or something like that, then yeah, maybe you can increase it by 2 or 3 points. Um, in terms of who's fucked, I would say like less than 0.1% of the population is truly fucked. It would be people who are like a legit midget. Like if you're like a midget, yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I guess you can hook up with midget girls, so yeah, there's that. But aside from that, that's gonna be tougher. Although you got Peter Dinklage, who probably does pretty well. Or if you have like a severe disability, like really severe. But even that, like I have a client with cerebral palsy, and for a long time he was just paying for sex, but he was able to finally get a girlfriend from Tinder, without spending money. And he has like really bad cerebral palsy, like you can barely understand him. But yeah,
Mhm.
like that guy, he's not going to be a massive player. Although, honestly, like sometimes sky's the limit. Like it could theoretically happen, but the point is it's going to be harder. But no, I don't think anyone is truly hopeless. I think yes, there's a small percentage of people who have a very tough situation where their options might be limited, but that's like less than 1% of the male population. Like most people who think they're fucked are not fucked.
Yeah. I always say too, like most guys are like, a new haircut, a better outfit, a workout plan away from being like a couple points higher. I think the internet's a dark place though, Alex. I'm sure you've seen these types of comments, and I get them on my channel all the time of people who are saying like, hey, unless you're in the top 5% looks wise, dating apps, dating in general isn't even worth it. You should just give up and quit.
Yeah,
Do you see a
no.
lot of comments like that on your channel as well?
Not so much on my channel because like my channel is like actively opposed to that. I mean, I don't like delete comments or anything, but
Hmm.
it's like I think someone who feels like that would not really resonate with my content because my content's all about like taking action and being empowered. And like I don't have any content about giving up, right? I don't think giving up
Yeah.
is a good option for anyone. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a pretty ridiculous argument. It's like telling a poor person, well, if your family wasn't in the top 1% financially, then you should give up on trying to work because you'll never have a business, so you'll never make money. Like, of
Mhm.
course, some people have a big start in life, like going to the financial analogy. Yeah, if your dad was like a fucking, multimillionaire and you got to go to like an Ivy League school and all that, like you do have an advantage. There's no denying that. But there's also stories of people who are broke as fuck who become multimillionaires. And I think it's the same thing here. Yeah, if you're not that good looking, you have a rougher start. There's no denying that. But
Mhm.
you are going to have to put in more work. Well, there's also stories, plenty of stories of guys who are not that good looking, or at least weren't that good looking, who maximized their sexual market value and did really well with girls. So yeah, for every story of a failure, there's also like another story of success. I think it really just comes down to how much work the person is willing to put in, how determined they are.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And I wouldn't say that's like the overwhelming majority of comments on the channel either. Like they're mostly positive. There are just some guys who have gone down that kind of black pill rabbit hole on YouTube and they like to chime in once in a while. And like, you know, I gotta look at it from their standpoint too. Like most men, bro, have no idea what they're doing on dating apps. They throw, a few photos off their camera roll up on Tinder. They get, barely any likes, barely any matches. They pay for Tinder Gold and they find that the girls that do like them, they're not interested in at all, or they're bots or whatever. And they think like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm ugly. Like maybe I'm beyond repair. And I feel like it's very easy for men when they're in that kind of vulnerable state to fall down like a pretty dark rabbit hole on YouTube. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've like seen that as
no, for
well.
sure. I mean, I would say though, to counter that, like there's nowadays in 2022, there's really no excuse between my channel and your channel. They pretty much have every single thing they need to know for free. Like that's we're talking about my free content and your free content
Yeah,
to like crush it with online dating. So all the information is like right at their disposal. When I was like kind of getting into game 2012, that didn't exist. Like you had to learn through trial and error or asking through friends. So I think it's easier than ever to get the right information if you know where to look. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a documentary, The Social Dilemma. It talks about how like, the internet makes people more polarized because of the algorithm. So yeah, like I
mhm,
can see that happening. Maybe you have a bad night out, you go home, you type in "why is dating hard" or something like that, something a
yeah,
little bit benign, and the algorithm starts throwing you more and more black pill content, and then our content doesn't even show up on their feed, right?
yeah,
It just shows them more like doom or black pill content, and then 3 months in, they think that's all that's out there. They just think everyone is failing, right? Because that's all they see. They're not seeing like channels like ours or anything positive. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely like I think that's an issue in of itself. How like social media kind of takes people down a dark path through the algorithm.
totally. And I think beyond that too, like social media has killed our incentive framework in our mind as well. Like we're so used to getting quick hits of dopamine and serotonin, instant gratification, that the idea of like actually putting in the work and like trying to change your life seems like so much more effort than just quitting and leaving salty comments and going down that dark path.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the path of least resistance. It's definitely easier to like give up. It's a lot easier than like doing the work. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, when I was like kind of getting into game when I sucked, I never even like contemplated that option because the way I saw it was like I can either learn game or I can be a virgin and pay for prostitutes for the rest of my life. And I was like, well, I clearly don't want to do the latter.
Right.
So like there's no other option. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
definitely.
guess in some ways, but that was pre-black pill community. But I guess the black pill community does in a way give them the option because it's like, oh, it's okay, man, it's not your fault. There's this community of people who have the same experience as you. You can get a sex doll, you can be an incel, like that's okay. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the black pill community is not really doing people any favors.
No, not at all, man. It's super negative. And like you said, like there's all the information that you literally need to change your life is on the internet for free. All you have to do is just go find it and put in the work. So, kudos to you for putting out all that good content. And man, like with all that, let's get into some Tinder profile advice. Like, I'd be curious to see Alex, just from the start. Like, what do you think are a few of the biggest common mistakes that guys are making, like on their Tinder profile?
Yeah, so I think having a good photo comes down to primarily two things. The fact that you look natural in the photo, so the photo shouldn't look posed. And we can like, if you want, pull up my Instagram, I can show examples, but you want to look just very natural in the photo.
Mhm.
The second one is that you don't look as good in that photo like you do in real life. So for example, if you're like a 6 in your photo, you look like a 4 or 5. If you're a 6, you should look like a 6.57 in your photo, and you can do that through lighting, angles, and photography. You know, girls for a very long time have known how to utilize lighting and angles, right? Men are just notoriously terrible at it. That's why typically when you meet up with a girl from a dating app, she's usually less attractive than her photos. But with guys, it's usually the other way. Typically, girls will say, "Yeah, the guys I meet up with are typically better looking than their photos." Again, why
Mm.
is that? Because guys don't know how to take good photos, and really, photos just come down to usually like body language, lighting, and angles. Like that can make a huge difference. Just something as simple as taking a photo from up top is enough to make you look shorter, and doing a slightly below neutral angle can, in of itself, just that make you look 2 inches taller. And these are like small things.
Totally.
So yeah, I would say that I think guys, I think there's this dumb idea that I don't know how it came is that you just show social proof. So guys like feel the need they have to show a photo with their friends, but I don't really believe that. I mean, I think if you have a cool group of friends and it looks like you're doing something cool, it can't
Mhm.
hurt. But most of the guys just have photos with like them and their bros, and they're like, I don't know. I think girls usually find that stuff
The
like,
classic, like everyone with their arms around each
yeah,
other photo.
yeah, that's not really helping.
Yeah.
Also, I think another important thing to keep in mind, you're only as attractive as your worst photo. So if you have 4 photos where you look like a 7 and one photo where you look like a 5, the girl's going to think you're a 5.
Hmm.
So you have to make sure you don't have any photos where you look bad, right? Again, you're only as good as your worst photo. So it doesn't matter that you have 4 awesome photos. That one bad photo is going to be enough to skew her perception of you.
Totally, man. And one thing I always say is like, girls aren't really looking for reasons to swipe right on you
Yeah,
as much as they're looking for like that one reason to swipe left. Like you could
yeah,
have the most mind-blowing perfect profile in the world, and then your last photo could just be something like unbelievably cringe or a huge turn off to her, and she's gonna swipe left just based on that one photo.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, it's funny, like, girls grow up going to the bathroom together, like taking selfies in the
Yeah,
washroom, all that shit, and guys don't. So, like, I don't know if you've ever sat beside a girl while she's going through a camera roll, like looking at her selfies. There'll be
yeah,
like
definitely.
30 versions of the exact same selfie.
Yeah,
And she's like, oh, I don't know which one to pick. Like, my bangs look weird in this one. Oh, the lighting's off in that one. Like, they're so fucking picky. And
yeah.
the amount of scrutiny that they look at their own photos with, they're also looking at our photos with as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, there's definitely a high level of scrutiny. But yeah, like guys are usually pretty bad at like picking up on that. And they just go like they just take one photo and they just go with that. And that's basically it, right? Versus in reality, you want to have, multiple photos. Sorry for the background noise. But yeah,
No, all good.
yeah, so yeah, you're right.
What would you say as far as selfies? Like, do you think in general selfies are a good idea on a profile, or are they in general a no-go?
Um, I think it's generally better not to do selfies. But I think if you have like one good selfie, that's okay. That's not an issue. They're not
Mhm.
like a hardcore no. If you have 1 or 2 good selfies, that's fine. But it should be a minority of your photos. Actually, I think the only situation in which selfies are actually like kind of necessary is if you're an ultra good looking guy who looks like a male model and girls will think you're a catfish. So with those guys, actually having a selfie or two is gonna make the girl think you're not a catfish. But
Mhm.
aside from that, I don't think they really benefit you much. But if you have 1 or 2, that's okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What do you think about? I know you said social proof. You think it's kind of silly, like it's overrated. I disagree. I think it's like a really good thing to have on your Tinder profile, but I think a lot of guys do it wrong. Where first off, when it comes to group photos, a lot of guys start off with a group photo, and
Mm,
they force women to play this Sherlock Holmes game, and they're
yeah,
just getting like left swiped out of that because if girls can't tell like clearly what you look like based on your first photo, they're not going to tap through the rest. They're just going to swipe left and move on to the next guy.
mm,
But I think like a well executed, candid photo of you like telling a joke with your friends, like everyone's got a beer, everyone's looking at you laughing, like something like that can really, really add to a profile. Like, would you say that's fair, or you say in general, like
well, there
social?
are ways to do social proof correctly. It would be like you're like at a pool party. There's like some girls, some guys. They all look people. All the people look cool. They don't look like losers.
Yeah.
Um, everyone's laughing, having a good time. Yeah, that could add some value. The way most people do it is like their arms hovering around girls at a club. It's just pretty obvious. It's like not actually that person's group of friends. So yeah, I think there are ways to do it. I don't think it's necessary though. Like I don't have any social proof on my Tinder. I never did, and it never,
Mhm.
really affected me. I played around with putting some social proof photos. I mean, it also depends on what kind of profile you're trying to go for. If you have like a threesome angle, then yeah, like that stuff can be really helpful. Like a photo of you doing some BDSM shit, will
Mhm.
come clutch. But if it's just like a regular profile, yeah, I think it's just overrated. Basically, that's my point.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. It's funny, man. I have a buddy, and I would say he's probably like a 9.5, like as close to a 10 out of 10 as it gets. Like
Mm,
the difference between like a 9 and 10 is pretty subjective, but the guy's
yeah,
like absolutely jacked, perfect hair, great skin, perfect smile, tall, dark, and handsome. And he's probably got the lowest effort Tinder profile of all time.
yeah.
And he's just pulling baddies, just
Yeah, well, I
pulling
mean,
hard.
sure. Like kind of we were saying earlier, the better looking you are, the less work you have to do. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If
I
you're
find
the
it
same good looking guy, you don't really need to fuck around with lighting and angles too much because you'll just come out looking good either way.
Yeah, it's funny, like, I tell him about, like he sees my videos, sees the advice, he's like, "Bro, that makes no sense." And it's funny because, like, for the average guy, you kinda need to, like, know what you're doing to level up your Tinder profile to get, like, a certain amount of matches, but there definitely is an echelon there where, like, looks just come in and kinda sweep it up as well, eh?
Yeah, I mean for sure. But I think that that's going to be less than like 1 or 2% of guys. So for most guys, like there's extreme outliers. So there's the really good looking guys who really don't need to put in work, and there's like the insanely horrible looking guys, like less than 1%, for whom it's going to be like a struggle no matter what they do. Well, I think
Mhm,
most men fall into that like 95, 98%, where they're like either slightly below average, slightly above average looking. Maybe they're fairly below average, maybe they're fairly above average, but for them like doing all this stuff will make a big difference. But then there's like the extreme outliers from whom it
mhm,
doesn't really matter, either on the really good looking side or on the really ugly side.
yeah. Really well said. It's kinda like a bell curve in statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, most guys fall within that first 1 to 2 standard deviations of
Yeah. Yeah.
average.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Totally. Now, photo quality, I think is probably like one of the biggest things that can level up a guy's profile pretty much overnight. Now, I think like having a pro camera is probably a huge advantage, but someone asked me a question to bring up on this podcast. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Can guys get, the same result with like an iPhone if they don't have access to a pro photographer? Like, do you have any tips for guys taking photos with like a cell phone versus
Yeah.
a pro camera?
I definitely think they can. Like some of my best photos were taken on an iPhone, so I definitely think you can. I do think there's a slight advantage for using a pro camera, but you can get really solid results with a smartphone. Again, the smartphone cameras are just really good now. Like 5 years ago, my answer would be different. It's like no, you need a DSLR. But
Mm,
nowadays, like the latest iPhone or Samsung, their cameras are just so good. Sometimes it even comes out better than the pro camera because they're just the way they capture the light. So yeah, I think you really can get good results with that.
definitely. One thing I would add too is like lighting. Lighting is so key in photography, and I think like one of the biggest things I see is guys taking photos on their iPhone indoor or at night with like low light conditions, and you kind of see like those like red glows and just like bad lighting conditions that kind of make people look less attractive. The photo gets
Yeah,
grainier, like phones have to
yeah.
work a bit harder. Like taking photos outdoor during the day is probably one of the biggest ways that you could just instantly level up those quality on those photos.
Yeah, yeah, I don't have any night photos in my Tinder. Yeah, I think, for sure, like, daytime photos or, like, right around sunset are the way to go. But, yeah,
Mhm.
lighting is huge. Lighting makes a humongous difference.
Definitely, bro, definitely. Do you mess with portrait mode at all on the iPhone?
Um, I'm just because usually when I take photos, it's like someone taking photos of me.
Mm,
I don't know what they clicked. I don't know, honestly, because most of the time it's people taking photos of me. I'm just like, "Hey, take this photo," and I give
fair.
them my phone. Yeah, so honestly don't know.
Always the model, never the photographer.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. I mean, I've taken photos of people from here and there. I usually don't like click any special setting. One thing that I have discovered very recently that I think maybe I'm kind of late to the party, but I think can be a game changer is Face App.
Mm,
Because quite often what happens is you have a pretty good photo, but your facial expression is awkward. I've seen this so many times where like this would be a great photo if you weren't doing this, right?
yeah.
But with Face App, you can fix that. And you can, I think Face App can make anyone look 1 or 2 points better, for sure. Just and this is not like even no Photoshop editing skills required. It's just literally setting, filter, option. That's it. You're done. 20 seconds.
Yeah, you can, like, add a smile onto yourself with that app,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or give yourself a smirk or actually give yourself just like a seductive, like neutral face. make your skin smoother. Yeah, like the sky's the limit.
That's incredible, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
technology is crazy. And one thing I like to do too when I'm doing photo shoots for like Tinder or Instagram, just in general, when I'm getting my photo taken, is I like to take, and this sounds crazy, but like 20, 30 photos. And I'll take somewhere like I'm looking
Oh
at the
yeah.
camera, somewhere I'm looking away, somewhere I'm smiling, somewhere I'm making like a serious face with like those like
Oh
different
yeah.
variations of face poses. And that way you kind of get like, face tune aside for fixing things in post, it's a good way to kind of guarantee that, like, okay, if you take 20, 30 photos, at least one of those is going to be usable,
Yeah,
right?
I forgot to mention that, but you're 100% right. Volume is extremely important. I would go even further than that. When I would have a photo idea, or that I'm like, hey, I want to get a photo of me doing this. I take at least I have people take at least 100 photos.
Mhm.
The more the better. Yeah, this is like I'll do sometimes like client consultations, and they'll be like, all right, let me see what your photo options are, and they'll give me like 15 photos. I'm like, dude, you should be giving me 200, 300 photos, right?
Mhm.
So I think volume is extremely huge, and it really doesn't take that much extra to take, it's just click, 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 click. Like it doesn't take really that much extra time. Taking 100 photos can be done in like 5 minutes. It's not like you're not sitting there for an hour. So yeah, 100% agree with that.
And this sounds like a silly question, but it's something I have heard as well. Like, what would you say to guys who feel weird about asking their buddies to take like 100 photos of them, or feel weird being in public, getting their photo taken 100 times? Like, what would you say to guys who kind of have issues with confidence around that?
I would treat it like approach anxiety. Like when you're about to approach a girl, you feel anxious about it, but then you do it and you realize it's no big deal. It's the same thing here. You may be like nervous to ask your friend, but then you ask and then they do it. And then he's like, oh, can you get some photos of me? And then like it's not a big deal. Or you think everyone's gonna be looking at you because you're taking photos in public, but then you realize no one gives a shit and there's like 20 other people doing the same thing. So yeah, I would just treat it like approach anxiety, just acknowledge it and ignore it and just do what you want to do anyway.
Let
Like
me ask.
I've heard this like from people that were like, uh, I'll be like, yeah, man, get some photos. Oh, I don't have money for a photo shoot. All right, cool. Yeah, just get one of your buddies to take a photo. Oh, well, I don't have anyone who can do that. I'd be like, well, do you have friends? Yeah, I have a bunch of friends. You can't get one of your friends to take photos. Like, how good of a friend are they?
Yeah,
Like, if you can't get a friend to take a photo of you, then you probably can't rely on them for like literally anything, and then they're not a real friend. I
yeah.
can get like a random stranger to take photos of me. Like, you're telling me you can't get your friend to do it? Like, bullshit. You just haven't asked.
On the other note too, like if they say, "Hey, I have no friends to take photos of me," like maybe Tinder isn't supposed to be on the top of your list of priorities right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, that is something true that I've noticed that some people just don't have friends. But yeah, you definitely should have at least a few buddies. Like for
Mhm.
yeah, like if not, just use like you can use the pickup community to network. I met a lot of my friends through like pickup, posting in the forums and the Facebook group and seeing other guys in your area who have similar interests.
Totally. Alex, would you say like as far as like percentage of like hookups, dates in 2022, as far as like a dating strategy for an average guy, let's say like living in a relatively big city in America, like what percentage of dates do you think would come from like dating apps, social circle, cold approach, meeting girls at the club, at bars, based on your
Hmm.
experience? Like what's the best dating strategy in 2022 for the average guy, would you say?
I don't know if there's such a thing as the best. It's just most effective for you. Someone, for example, who's like, I don't know, in the photography world might have a completely different, way of sourcing than someone who's just like works in IT, right? Like
Mhm.
that photography, whatever professional might get a lot of their leads through social circle, right? Versus someone who works in IT, they're not going to be able to do that. But I would say like, okay, I think like a very rough strategy would be this. Let's say you're like an average guy, you're a five. So if you're a five, you can probably build yourself up to be a 6.5. The first thing you can do is get clothes that fit you really well. So a website I like is cutsclothing.com, or you can use Zara. Get shirts that really sit well on your body, right? And pants as well. Go to a barbershop, a good barbershop, get like a nice skin fade, have them line up your beard, right? You've just increased your SMB by half a point to a point. Develop a strategy of going to the gym consistently and either putting on muscle or losing weight. That in like 4 or 5 months, you can gain another half a point to a point. And then so now you're a 6.5. Using the tips that we give you, you can make yourself look like a seven in photos. And then through FaceApp, you can be a 7.58. And there we go. Now you're getting
Whoa.
matches on Tinder. and dating apps. And you're also diversifying, you're using multiple different dating apps, right? In addition to that, when you're kind of like going about your day, approach girls that you find attractive, right? So you're getting some leads coming in from dating game. On the weekends, go out with your friends. If you don't have any friends, then meet them through the pickup community. And as you're going out, you'll meet girls as well. So that's like a night game. Furthermore, you'll be networking. So maybe you will have some social circle type of stuff. Um, Develop like when you're out and about and you're doing shit, take photos and post them on Instagram. So you have like a little bit of a social resume.
Nice.
Uh, but yeah, it would be something along the lines of that. But if you really enjoy doing like cold approach, then maybe it'll be different for you. Maybe most of your leads will come from cold approach, right? I do
Mhm.
think it just depends on how much time you have, what you do, what your interests are, what you're good at, what you're bad at. So I don't think there's like a universal strategy, but it would be something like that and just variations of that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, even when I look at my own dating life, like, I would say probably 40-50% of the dates I've had are probably from dating apps. And then the other half would be like an equal split among like meeting girls out during the day, nightlife, like going out with clubs, social circle, everything like that. I just find like the busier that I get and the more time I spend like working, the less time I have to like actually go out and just kind of frolic around and talk to girls in
Yeah.
public. And that's where dating apps I find have been like just something extremely efficient to lean on.
Yeah, they're very efficient. Yeah, that, if you do them correctly, they're one of the most efficient lead sources.
Mhm. Alex, I have something in mind and I'm curious if you'll bring it up. Are there any, would you say, like extremely universally effective photos for Tinder? Like high percentage photos that every guy should have?
You know, they did. Did you see the OK Cupid study?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, they like OkCupid did a really like detailed study where they like just basically analyzed all the data to come up with what photos do the best. So what they found was the top two photos. Actually, this was kind of a surprise to a lot of people. The top two type of photos are dog photos, which is obvious, and shirtless photos. Shirtless
Wow.
photos and dog photos were both like significantly higher than any other category. Like I think dog photos were just like slightly higher than a shirtless photo. Now the caveat is if you're going to do a shirtless photo, you know, you have to be in good shape. Like we are presuming that the people who had shirtless photos on their stupid were in pretty good shape, right? That's the caveat. But assuming you're in decent shape, those are the two best types of photos in terms of performance. And this is like again, according to a very detailed OkCupid study. I'm trying to think what was third place, and you guys can all find the study. I think third place was like maybe like travel photos or something like that, or
Okay.
outdoor photos, basically kind of like what you would expect. But yeah, first two was dog photos and shirtless photos. Two things that seem cliche, but they work.
I was gonna say the one I had in mind was definitely dog photos. And it's funny that OK Cupid did a study on that. I saw Tinder just like a couple weeks ago posted as well that you're way more likely to get matches just by including a dog photo.
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing I'll say on the dog photo too is I find dog photos where the guy's like looking at the camera and smiling, like in kind of like a cheesy pose, way less effective than like a candid dog photo where like
Yeah,
you're looking at the
yeah,
dog smiling, it's like licking your face or something like that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
also it should look like the dog is miserable. I've seen dog photos where the dog looks like he just wants to escape, and the people like holding the dog just looks depressed.
Yeah.
Like the dog looks like it's in like a mild state of shock. So the dog should look like somewhat happy in the
Doesn't
photo.
even look like your dog in the photo. It's like,
Well,
please
that
get
part
back
doesn't
to my
matter as
owner.
long as the dog doesn't look miserable.
Yeah. This is another mistake that I see a lot of guys making. And I don't know if I'd like define it as a mistake, but it's just something that like looks really awkward and I see very, very commonly. And I
Mhm,
actually put this up on TikTok once. I got a lot of flack from guys because like
mhm,
I brought up the problem, but I didn't bring up the solution in the same video.
mhm.
Is it's something that I call the tourist pose, where you're kind of standing with your shoulders square, hands in your pockets, staring directly in the camera and like smiling
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
someone told you to say cheese, and it's like the corniest pose, and I see like every time I do a profile review, I feel like I see someone do the tourist pose there.
Oh yeah, dude. In that same study, they found I forgot there's more to the study than just what I mentioned. There's a lot more to that. One of the things they found is photos where you look away from the camera do better than photos where you're looking at the camera. That was pretty definitive.
That makes a lot of sense. I definitely feel like I look better when I'm looking away from the camera. Maybe it's just my angle, but good to know
Yeah,
there's some science behind that. Do you have
yeah.
any other like posing tips as far as like standing poses, sitting poses, like things that you find generally just good rules of thumb?
Well, I think it's better like to not post. Just like forget the camera's there. Try to
Mhm.
just like relax. Good body language, taking up space. Try different angles. Move around. Don't be static. Like move around. Like when I'm having like let's say I want to get a photo with like a cool view. I'm not
Yeah.
just standing there like this. I'm just doing this right as the person is taking photos. Right. Um,
Hmm.
to the left. I crack a joke. Like da, da, da. I'm just constantly moving. So don't be static. Right. Move around
Definitely.
a little bit. I'm kind of switching up how I'm standing. Maybe I'll sit. Maybe I'll like kind of like that. So yeah, don't be static. Move around. Don't try to like pose. Don't try to get the perfect pose because they'll just look awkward. Really, just try to forget the camera's there and just pretend like
Hmm.
you're in a good mood, having fun. That's really the best advice I can give.
It's so
But
true.
also
Like,
at the same time, try to have good body language.
I think it might sound cliche, but the energy that you're feeling on the inside definitely shows in the photo when it's taken. And I
Yeah,
love
just
that you said like crack a couple jokes. Like I think one of the best thing guys can do is if you hire a professional photographer, either A, make sure the chemistry there is really good, or
mm,
B, like have buddies with you, like friends that can bust your balls and joke around with you while your photo's getting taken. Cause it's
mm.
gonna bring out like candid laughs, like actual positive energy that they're gonna be able to capture on camera. And it's gonna make you look like 10 times better as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, a really good professional photographer is actually going to be able to guide you and get you into that state. Like the professional photographer, if they're really good, they're actually going to be like joking around with you and trying to get you in that state. But very few
Mhm.
professional photographers actually know how to do that. But the good ones do. Like
Oh yeah.
I've had like probably some like really good photographers, and yeah, that's what they do. They'll be like, okay, Alex, and they're just like fucking around with me, and I'm just like even forgetting that their photos are being taken. I'll be like, okay, cool, are you ready to take some photos? Like, oh, we already got the photos, right? That's kind
Mhm.
of like the way it should be. But yeah, not a lot of photographers actually will do that, but that's what they should do.
So we talked like some high percentage photos like that look pretty good across the board. Are there any like outfits or like clothing items that you'd say like are essential or you see as like looking pretty good for most guys?
No, I just think like clothes that fit you well. That's really what matters. I don't like I don't know. I don't like super flashy shit. So I'm personally
Mhm.
not a fan of like super flashy. I don't really like flannel either. I just like more like plain clothing. Like the shirt I'm wearing right now is just like a plain black tee, but it fits me well. And then just like, white pants or something like that. Everyone has a different style, and I'm definitely like non-expert on style. Like that's literally
Okay.
probably the weakest area. But I've just always preferred like simple clothes that fit well and sit well on the body. And I always like contrasting colors. So if I'm wearing a black shirt, white pants. If I'm wearing black pants, white shirt or green shirt. I think contrasting colors can look good too.
Definitely. Like having a dark and a light just makes things
Yeah,
pop so much more.
yeah.
I personally love flannels, bro. And it kind of makes me sad that you speak out against them because that's like I could go to my closet right now and whip out like 5 or 6 flannels. It's like my entire wardrobe.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's why I prefaced it by saying I'm not an expert on style. I'm just going off like kind of what I personally like.
Yeah.
But what I personally like is not like, definitive of like all the trends and whatever. But I think the biggest thing is that the clothes sit well on your body and they fit you well.
Yeah, definitely, man. And also, like one thing I found a lot of success with, like an easy way to kind of like level up your style as well, is even with something like a flannel. Like you could wear it fully buttoned up and have it kind of like wearing like a dress shirt. But I found a lot more success when you like layer outfits. And what I mean by that is having like either like a plain black or white t-shirt underneath,
Uh,
and then wearing like button-up shirts, flannels, zip-ups, jackets, and wearing them unbuttoned, wearing them unzipped over top, and just kind of having like a nice layered fit. It's a really easy way
mhm.
to elevate your style, just a couple points.
Yeah. I used to do the layered look when I was in high school. Well, I live in Miami, so you can't really do layers here because it's too
Yeah.
hot. But yeah, if you're in a colder place, I can see that. I think tattoos can also help. Uh, I mean, I don't think you should get a tattoo for the sake of like getting laid, but if you're kind of like somewhat into tattoos already and you like the way they look, you and I both have a tattoo like on our
Yeah.
yeah, right, and I have
I'm
one.
actually working on a sleeve.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think tattoos can help. I think they definitely improve your SME by a little bit. But if you're into stuff like that, again, don't get a tattoo if you hate tattoos just for the sake of getting laid. But if you like tattoos, then yeah, I would definitely get a few.
Oh, I've definitely noticed the way girls look at me with the tattoos as opposed to before. It's like night and day.
I wouldn't say it was night and day for me, but it is like a noticeable difference.
Yeah. Like definitely gives you more of that bad boy look. I think you
Yeah.
could have the body for the bad boy look already though. Me, I was like always kind of a twig, so
Me?
the
Oh no,
tats help.
I've only put on muscle like in the last 3 years of my life. I've been pretty
Okay.
skinny. Yeah, if you look at photos of me like early on, I was like super skinny. I was 135 pounds most of my life.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, no, I was always super skinny.
What's your like diet and like workout plan?
It's nothing crazy. I mean, I eat. Well, I also have like a million dietary restrictions because I have like some health issues. But I eat like a clean paleo diet. I eat twice a day, so I do intermittent fasting. So I have my first meal at like 7 p.m.
Mhm.
And then my second meal before I go to bed at like 3 a.m. But most of the day I'm fasted. I eat a clean paleo diet, high in protein, high in healthy fats. I try to get some green juice in there as well. So I try to get like 2.5, 3,000 calories a day because I'm an ectomorph. In terms of lifting, I prefer training on an empty stomach. I've just found that I can lift more if there's no food in my system.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get stronger, progressively stronger in key lifts. So like bench, pull downs, squats. Yeah, I'm just like basically just trying to get stronger on that. I'm probably working out like 4 days a week or something like that. Maybe an hour each session. You don't have to go crazy with it. Uh,
Mhm.
I do have an advantage because I take TRT, um, but yeah, that's the plan follow. But you can you can go harder on it. You can train 5 or 6 days a week. But yeah, if you're training 4 days a week and you're getting stronger in key lifts and
Mhm.
you are eating right, like you will put on muscle for sure. As long as you're sleeping too, you do need to sleep. Like when you lift, you have to sleep a little bit more. So you
Right.
can like lift and then sleep 6 hours because you put on muscle while you're sleeping when you're recovering. But yeah, I take a lot of supplements and stuff like that that can help. I think like things like fish oil, creatine, can help a little bit. Multivitamins, all that kind of stuff. Um, Something as simple as DHEA, for example. A lot of people are
Right.
deficient in DHEA, which is almost as important as testosterone. But you can just buy DHEA supplements. So yeah, I do a lot of blood work too to kind of see where everything's at. But yeah, I think most people can benefit from supplementing DHEA, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc. Zinc can help with testosterone, natural testosterone production. Boron can help with natural testosterone regulation. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff like that, basically.
I've actually never heard of DHA. What is that?
It's a hormone. It's like similar to testosterone. Your body produces it, but a lot of people are deficient in it. But like with testosterone, you have to like inject it. DHEA, you
Mhm.
just take a capsule, and it's like over the counter. You can just buy it at like whatever at any kind of like vitamin shop. But yeah, it's just a hormone that's like has a somewhat similar role as testosterone.
Okay. But I might have to experiment with that. I'm trying to get more shredded. Like I've had this like little mini keg barrel for so long, and I don't know
Mm.
if it's just like I drink too many beers when the hockey games are on or what. But yeah, something I've been just trying to get rid of forever.
Yeah, I would do intermittent fasting for that. Intermittent fasting and combine that with maybe like peptides. There's like, are you familiar with peptides?
No.
Okay, that's a whole like can of worms, but it's basically it's something that's become popular in the last 10 years. They're
Okay.
like, I don't know, they're like you inject them in your belly fat, but they're not like testosterone or something like that. That's like serious. Like peptides really have no side effects. They're basically like amino acids.
Mhm.
They're like amino acids that you would inject in your like fat, but it's just one injection a day. But they can boost like your natural growth hormone production. They can boost your thyroid. They can boost your sleep. I mean, they have so many different ones. So I take a peptide that boosts my growth hormone production. So my growth hormone is also important. For a while, I was actually I did HGH, so I was actually literally doing
Okay.
growth hormone. But I realized that I could get all the same benefits with just the peptides without actually, and this is verified through blood work, without taking the small risk that comes with HGH, which is like the small cancer risk.
Right.
And HGH is also very expensive. Peptides are not that expensive. So yeah,
True.
I just realized I could get all the same effects with like something that's much more natural. So that's why I got on the peptides.
Fucking A, buddy. I feel like bit of a interesting tangent there, but some
Yeah, I know.
it's good food for thought. But
Yeah,
I guess back on the Tinder front, and we're gonna jump into some profile reviews in a minute here as well. I got some guys who sent their profiles, and
sure.
definitely curious to see of what we think about them. But as far as bio, I know when I was on your show, we kind of went over our Tinder profiles, popped up the bio.
Mhm,
I usually keep mine super, super short and sweet, like a funny, playful one-liner.
mhm,
And you had a bit of a different style, whereas like kind of the pros cons list. When it comes
mhm.
to bio, like what's your general philosophy and advice and kind of frame of thought around that?
Yeah, I think the bio can serve several purposes. It can screen, it can build intrigue, it can make you stand out. What a bio cannot do is it cannot build attraction. That's done through your photos. But a bio can kill attraction for sure. It just can't build it. But
Mhm.
I think so. You have to make sure there's nothing in the bio that kills attraction. What you're trying to do is you're trying to screen, you're trying to build intrigue, and you're trying to basically stand out. Right? You would do that through a combination of humor, maybe like some sexuality, stuff like that. So like my bio would go like 6-0 Miami, right? Just giving that information up front. And it's like my passion is traveling around the world and seductively whispering Russian in your ear. Strengths, being dominant, BDSM, uh, cooking, grilling steak, and great color. Weaknesses, great ass and accents. P.S. Blindfolds are much more fun than turning the lights off. Something like that.
Right.
I fuck around with it all the time, but something like that. So it's like sexual. It's kind of funny. It's short. It's like tongue in cheek. It's also got like a few little interesting caveats about me. It's like, oh, I speak a foreign language. I travel a lot. I know BDSM. That's kind of just like, kind of put in there. Great color. A lot of girls would be like, wow, you got me with a great color part, right? So yeah, that's kind of, a bio provides a hook.
Mhm.
So it creates something for the girl to message you about. So if you have like a very basic bio, the girl just has to be like, "Hey, how's it going?" She wants to open you. But if you have an interesting bio, she can just reference something, and that starts for a more interesting conversation. And simultaneously, a girl might be more likely to message you if she
Right.
feels like she has something more interesting to say.
Yeah, it's interesting. And would you say with that bio, like you're kind of screening for like girls who are more BDSM friendly? Like is that kind of the goal that you're going for there or
No, I wouldn't say BDSM friendly, just girls who are like a little bit more DTF.
okay.
Because BDSM, like most girls don't know BDSM, but they're open, like they'll be like, "Oh, I've never tried BDSM. Can you teach me?" Right? That's kind of the
Mhm.
message you'll commonly get.
That's interesting because like my school of thought around it has always been, because women are looking for that reason to swipe left and reject you, I prefer to kind of like cast a wide net. And rather than providing like, every line in your bio could be an opportunity for her to swipe left. Like it only
Mm,
takes one thing in there that she doesn't like to be like, you
mm,
know what? This guy's cute, but I'm good, and kind of reject you. So my theory has always been keep it short and sweet. And based on a lot of the research that I've done for like, top picks, top profiles in major cities, is that there's something I call like the hot boy bio, where like a lot of the hot kind of like fuck boy guys who are in these top picks and who are getting a lot of matches, they typically have like just like a witty one liner. It's something that I saw that they pretty much all have in common. And it kind of casts like what I would think is a little bit more of a wide net, kind of plays it safe. But if girls are on the fence and then you can say something like funny, witty, thought provoking in there, you're going to win the right swipe.
Here's why I would disagree with that. So back in the day, I used to have two Tinder profiles. One was like a very general profile where I would just like try to play it safe and cast a wide net. And that profile might get like 10 to 20 matches a day, right? And then I would have a very sexual BDSM profile. That one might get like 2 matches a day, right? So we get a lot less matches. Well, what I started noticing, which was really, really interesting, I was getting just as many, if not more, meetups from the BDSM profile. So while I was getting a lot less matches, those matches were a lot more solid and way more likely to convert. And then I had a lot of my friends try this, and we all came to the same conclusion. Yes, you get less matches, but those matches are more serious about meeting you.
Hmm.
So I think the conclusion I came to, you probably want to be somewhere in the middle where you don't really shrink your net down too much, but it is still polarizing enough so that the leads you get are solid.
Yeah, it's an interesting play, and like I wouldn't say build like the most vanilla profile of all time, where like there's nothing on there that creates any kind of like polarization. Like I think the way I look at it is like friction is kind of good, like creating a little bit of friction, but probably not going as far as to say polarization.
Well, the way I look at it is like when a hot, horny girl swiping through Tinder, she's gonna see guys better looking than me, right? There's just no ifs,
Hmm.
ands, or buts about it. She's gonna see guys who are cooler than me. But can I maybe hook her really badly with my profile, or she decides to meet up with me over all those other guys, right? Well, I think my answer is yes because I've done that many times, right? So I've done this game where like after I fuck a girl, I go through her Tinder, and I'm like, it blows my mind because she's usually talking to guys who are better looking than me, or
Yeah.
like some guys who I'm like, holy shit, like honestly, if I was gay, I would meet up with this guy over me. Like, why the fuck did you meet up with me? And then she was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. She's like, I really like that thing about BDSM. I've been curious to try it. So I figured I'd meet up with you. Something like that, some variation of
Hmm.
that. She's like, oh, I really liked that you were dominant, Last guy I was with was like pretty basic, so I want a dominant guy. And I was like, okay, there's clearly something to like having those strong hooks.
Hmm.
You are partially right that you will get less matches. But again, my goal isn't like to maximize my number of matches, to maximize my number of meetups with attractive girls. And for me, I found that like that happens, and like some of the other people played around with a more polarizing profile. But the
Hmm.
problem is nowadays on Tinder, you can't be too polarizing because you'll just get banned. So the kind of profile I would like to have, I can't even do. The kind of profile that I used to do around 2017, which was very sexual, that
Right.
just kind of gets you banned now. So you have to like basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make my profile as sexual as possible without getting banned, right? What's that line? And that's like I just try to stay right under that line.
Yeah. It's tough too because once you get banned on Tinder, you pretty much just have to get like a new phone at that point with a new SIM card, new Apple ID. Like
Yeah,
their device banning at this point gets pretty rough
yeah,
out here.
it's super annoying. Yeah, they just
Yeah.
ban anyone and everyone for no reason, no explanation, no chance to appeal, no customer service. It's like a black
Nada.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next. Would you say sounds like that strategy like it's good if you're trying to find just like booty calls, GTF girls. Would
Mm.
that strategy is there a way to like emulate, replicate that for guys who are looking for maybe like a relationship or maybe something a little more like a little more wholesome than just the DTF girls? Like is there
Do people like
something that
that
you
watch our channels? No, I'm just kidding. For that one person,
maybe for the one guy.
yeah, for that one guy. Okay, so this is kind of what I believe. This is not like I think a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I think that the early stages, like whether you're looking for a one night stand, a fuck buddy, or girlfriend, the early stages are almost identical the same. Everything before sex is close to identical, with like maybe some small variations. So if I'm looking for a relationship, and like just to paint the picture, I'm currently in a relationship, right? So I'm not just being like speculatively. I've been in multiple relationships. I'm in a relationship right now. We've been together for like 2 years, but every single relationship I've ever been in, I still my first goal was just to fuck her in the shortest amount of time possible, obviously without like any pressure or anything like that. And like, like my current girlfriend I hooked up with on the second date, my previous girlfriend I hooked up with on the first date, the one before that was on the first date, the one before that was I think like the second date. So it's always like I'm still hooking up with the girls on the first or second date. And I'm still have a somewhat sexual profile because again, in order to get a girlfriend, you have to first get the date, right? And I just find that if you're more polarizing, you're more likely to get the date because, like, again, like Tinder's like 75, 80% dudes, right? You're
Mhm.
probably not going to stand out based on your looks unless you're insanely, insanely good looking. But you can stand out on like, your bio because no one else, because either if the guys who are trying to be sexual, they're doing it in a pervy way. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, swipe right if you're big tits and all, like kind of in a way that's like not really appealing to girls or they're just playing it way too safe. But there's not a lot of guys who have like the nice balance where they're sexual, but are
Mhm.
doing it like a suave, mature way. Right. So that's kind of what I want to try to stand out on. So yeah, I would say like the early stages are the same, but I mean, like you could just like kind of tone down your bio a little bit. It just when I do a coaching call and the guy's like, hey, I really want a relationship, I'll still give him a sexual bio, but it'll be like a little bit less sexual than
Right.
what I would to a guy who's looking for a hookup. But we're talking like 20% differences, right? Like we're not talking about drastic difference.
Totally. Yeah, it makes sense. And like I guess where I'm coming from is both the numbers game, but also just like the volume of bio too. Like one piece of feedback I've heard from quite a few women is that if they see like a longer paragraph bio, because they're swiping so quick, they don't really take the time to read it.
Mhm.
So if they're attracted enough to just swipe based on the photos, they'll swipe right. But it is that thing where like if they're swiping through and they're kind of on the fence, a lot of them wouldn't take the time to read
Yeah,
some of
that's
these
why you
bio.
want to make sure you break it up. I forgot to add that detail, but everything is broken up into paragraphs. So it's like very small sections. So if you look at a screenshot of my bio, it's actually very easily digestible. But yeah, you're
Mhm.
100% right. You don't want just like a big block of text.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and the way you set it up is smart because when it's in that little preview before, like, clicking into the profile, they are just gonna see, like, that first line that you put in there before you click
Yeah.
enter. So it's
Yeah.
gonna look much cleaner. So, yeah, I love that. Alex, what I would love to do is go through a few of these profiles and kinda review them, and I'd love to see I haven't even looked at these. I just downloaded the photos really quickly and, like, didn't really go through them, so I'd like to get kind of a blind reaction for both of us on a few of these, profiles the guy sent
Photo
in.
number one, dick pic. Yeah, let's do it.
Imagine. I still trip out every time I look in the mirror. I feel like I look like, one of the 4 Beatles right now.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so let's start off right away. So too dark. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of nighttime photos. I think downwards angles are good, but the camera's too low. The camera's literally touching the floor. So he went just way too low with the camera angle. Uh,
Mhm.
Yes, it should be slightly below your waist, but not that low. But yeah, like just weird. Like the light, it's too dark. The angle is too low. Man, it's also a little posed. But really, the main issue I think is the angle. It's just like too weird of an angle. It's just too low.
The lighting, like you said, is really rough too. Like girls like to have a good idea of like what kind of hair you're working with here
Uh,
too. And his hair just gets completely lost into the shadow. Yeah, this one. One thing I'll say too is like the fit kind of matters. I think the
mhm,
top half looks pretty good, like a nice layered outfit with the flannel. But then the sweats kind of kill it for me. It just kind of looks like Buddy just got out of bed or got off a Zoom call.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right, so photo number two here.
um, Yeah, again, that goes back to what we were discussing earlier, the group photos, especially, like, I wouldn't do a photo with another dude, it looks a little gay. Uh, yeah, like, I just would not do a photo with one other guy. It just looks like they're just like a gay couple or something.
Do you think it's better if you had like a little bit more of a squad there, like a couple more guys in it, or is this something that you usually
I
veer
think if
away
you're
from
all
in
gonna do
general?
a photo with a group photo, there should be guys and girls there, just shouldn't be just dudes.
Mhm.
But, yeah, I think, like, again, you don't need to have that group photo, like, I would just take this one out.
I would just like to see it be like something a little bit more candid. Like if they are, looks like they're at like some sort of pub or event, like having a couple drinks. Like if that's the case, like maybe him like cheersing his buddies or something like that. It's like someone took a photo when he wasn't looking at the camera. I find these like stare at the camera, arms around each other, smiling into the lens photos just never really hit the way that I think guys think they will. What I do like about this photo though is that the relative height is working in Brandon's favor here. Like he is the taller guy in the photo. I think that's something that is helping him.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, yeah, wow, this is bad.
This one's tough to look at. It really just kind of goes downhill every photo.
Yeah.
Oh man, a lot
Yeah.
to unpack.
Yeah, this looks like, what's that movie, Step Brothers or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that haircut, yikes. Okay, let's keep
Big
going.
yikes. Weird. They're also like in a bathroom. Clearly, there's like a bathroom stall here. Like, good thing there's not a urinal, but there's the mirror's also like covered in jizz too. Just not a good look.
Yeah, no, this
We
is not
gotta
good.
remove that photo. Okay, last up we've got another
Yeah,
group pic.
yeah, again, another group photo, another bunch of dudes, another lighting too dark, another can't see the face clearly. Yeah, it's just like the same issues. Yeah, I would rate this profile. I would rate this guy like a six-ish in terms of looks. I would put this profile a 3 out of 10 in terms of the profile. Uh,
Yeah.
like every single photo is a group photo, with the exception of that one where the camera is like touching the floor and you can't
Mhm.
even see him. Like, there should not be, if you're gonna do group photos, it should be one group photo. It shouldn't be like 3 group photos and 1 photo where you're not even visible. Like, we still don't really know what this guy looks like, despite seeing 4 photos of him.
100%. And like girls, they're not going to play the Sherlock Holmes game here. They're
Yeah,
just
he
going to
also looks
swipe left.
kinda different in all the photos, so it's like
Yeah.
the girl's gonna be like, "What the fuck does this guy even look like?" Next.
Yeah. Which version of Brandon's showing up to the date? Again, too, the baggy sweats in the last photo. I think he's got to get some nicer bottoms going on here. It's just not a good look. All
Yeah.
right. Next, we got Ayush. Hopefully, I'm saying that
Um,
correctly.
yeah. This photo is just too posed. Um He's got good lighting and the background is blurred. That's all good. His fashion is pretty good. It's just too posed. Like when you're doing that, like don't touch the sunglasses. Don't like fluff the collar. It just looks too posed. If he just had his hand down, it'll be a lot better.
Yeah. Do you think like looking at the camera, looking away in this photo would be better? It's
It
hard to
might be
tell with the
it might
sunglasses, but
it might be better to look away, but I think the biggest issue is the fact that just it looks so posed with a hand on the glasses.
yeah. Nice fit though, man, and the lighting and the quality.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
like a lot
everything
of good
else is
elements here.
yeah, 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 everything else is good. It's just that's the issue, but it is a big issue. Yeah, this was cool. That was cool. Okay. Camera quality just went down significantly. I don't think this guy's in good enough shape to do shirtless photos, so I think he's got to put that shirt back on. Uh,
Mhm.
he's not that far away. I think maybe 3 months of training, he could be at a shirtless photo. But also the lighting is not that good for this one. Again, and this is clearly taken on a some like smartphone. The previous
Taking
one
on
was
a
a
potato.
professional camera. But yeah, also just kind of like weird facial expression. But yeah, really like this photo is just a no go.
Yeah, there's a bit much. One thing I noticed too, he's wearing the same fit, but took off the shirt. Same
Yeah,
pants, same shirt in his
he's got
hand.
to put the shirt back on.
Big time. That's another thing too, is wearing the same outfit in multiple photos, I would say is a no-go as well. Because you don't like even if you are doing a photo shoot for Tinder, I don't think you want to make it look like you went out and did a photo shoot for Tinder. It's better to make it look like you're constantly getting cool photos taken of you. You live an interesting life where you're just always looking good and getting good photos.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
ooh, yeah. Uh, okay. What is in his mouth? Or this is, or,
I
oh, this is just a weird facial expression.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looks kind of
the
shocked.
camera quality is horrible. He has a weird facial expression, which I guess could be fixed through Face App, but you're not going to fix the fact that the camera quality is really poor. He's just like kind of blurry. Yeah, so that would be a no go for that reason.
Yeah,
But
this one's
the
tough.
facial expression could be fixed, but not the camera quality.
It looks like he's like in the middle of saying something and got his photo taken. Like it looks
I
like he's
thought
saying,
for a second there was something in his mouth, like he had something like some straw in his mouth or something. But yeah, you're right. There's not.
yeah, might just be the photo quality. Like, yeah, when I zoom in, it's potato quality.
Yeah, he's kind of got like the fish mouth or whatever.
I think it'd be cool if he had like more of like a zoomed in because he looks sharp in a suit. Like something that you don't really need to
Yeah,
have full body in all these photos. Like it's kind of okay to have like a torso up pic where you just look sharp. I think that
yeah,
would do him a lot better with again a better quality camera and yeah, facial expressions a little weird in this one.
yeah.
Okay, last pick. Again, same fit as the first photo, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this
Similar fit.
the camera quality is poor though. Again, like lighting is really weird, hitting his face weird, and the camera quality is poor. And again, weird facial expression. So it's a lot of the same issues. This lighting is like this is not going to be able to be fixed with Face App. The lighting is just hitting his face too weirdly. Yeah, yeah. This is just bad lighting, poor quality.
There's just like a weird saturation too to the greens that kind of gave
Yeah,
it this like weird
I
like
think
Willy
it might have been
Wonka.
like edited, but whoever did the editing messed up. Yeah, it's definitely been edited, or it's like I don't know what went wrong, but something is wrong with this photo. I think
Mhm.
probably just over editing, maybe. I don't know, or like some weird filter that they went too hard on.
This is something I see a lot of guys do too, Alex, is they think like, okay, I got to get out, get some photos during the day outside. And the first place they go is like a park and they take photos where they're just like surrounded by trees or they go to like on a hike and they take photos in the forest. It's kind of weird. Like as men, maybe it's just our first reaction when we think outdoors is to just go to a place with a bunch of trees. But it kind of like it looks cliche, like every photo just a bunch of trees in the background.
Well,
I don't
I
know why.
find more interesting is a lot of people like don't really use common sense. So they're like, "Oh, I gotta get a suit photo, so I'll go in outdoors." But they're like, "You're wearing a suit on like a
Yeah.
hiking trail," and it's like, this is clearly posed because you would never hike. You never do this like 10-mile hike in a suit. So
Mhm.
clearly, you didn't like think about this too clearly. Like you were just like, "I need a suit photo. Outdoors is good. Let me put on my suit and go like in this park." But like
Mhm.
when you think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, "This doesn't make sense." You
Yeah.
know?
Would you say somewhere like more like an urban environment, like skyscrapers in the back, like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
office
that would
environment, a
make more
wedding?
sense, like, looks like you just came out of a meeting or something, not like
Mhm.
you just came out of, like, fucking fishing in a suit.
All right, next up we got Russell. This one's gonna be a little bit of a Zoom game, so mind the quality on this.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, this is just like, again, this is what I was talking about, dog looking uncomfortable.
I almost feel bad for the doggo in that one.
Yeah, this just like and also he's got a photo with another dog, so it's like, which dog you have to, like, pick one dog. You can't, because then it's just like, which dog is his? Is neither of
Yeah,
them?
maybe he's like a dog walker, you know? Just
But
has like a lot of
that's not
access to
something I would, like, advertise. I get
him.
the first and the second photo are, like, way too similar. You have to pick one of those, although I'm not a fan of either one. Um, again, it's kinda hard to tell because 'cause we're zooming in, but the camera quality seems pretty poor too.
I just don't love the idea too of holding a big dog. Like I think the dog should be like squatting in front of you, you kind of behind
Yeah,
it or
yeah,
alongside it, something like that, like in a more natural position than just picking up a
yeah.
big dog. Like it looks
That
very
first dog looks
uncomfortable.
pretty badass, though. I'm curious what kind of dog that is. It looks like a lion or something.
Yeah, I think it's got like a lion's mane like costume on it from the looks of it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think
Oh,
that looks like a yellow lab.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I got a buddy with the same type.
Okay. I got
They're
excited
awesome
there. I'm
dogs.
like, "Ooh, they have lion dogs out there now."
Yeah, imagine. Okay,
Uh,
next up we got the wedding group photo.
yeah. The girls are not that attractive. Um So if it looks like you hook up with fives, then if a girl who's a seven, she's not gonna like swipe right on you. The girls are not that attractive. He looks kind of flamboyant in this photo. Very flamboyant, just his body language and his smile. Uh,
Hmm.
no, that would be a pass.
He looks kind of uncomfortable too, like the way his hands are resting and like his
Every
shoulders
single
are.
person in that group looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They're just like a bunch of misfits who got together for this photo.
Would you say like one way to make a photo better with a group is just like have hotter birds in the photo? Like, is that the key
That
there?
can definitely help, but also like doing some activity. Like maybe you're at a pool party or you're playing volleyball or I don't know, like some activity.
Hmm. I see a lot of these wedding photos, like wedding group photos.
Yeah.
I think the reason being is like most guys don't really get their photo taken, but a wedding is the one place where there is a pro photographer
Well, if you
shooting
are
everyone's
okay, if
thing.
you are gonna do a wedding photo, do a photo of you while you're doing the toast, right? People are looking at you, you're standing up. Like that would be a good thing to do for a wedding photo. It's like social proof because there'll be people in the background, but you're like doing the toast where you're the center of attention. That's why I would recommend over a photo like this.
100%. Okay, next up, another dog photo.
We
Looks like,
can't see him at all. Like, yeah, like this photo doesn't help or hurt. It was just useless because we can't see him
yeah,
at
it's
all.
kind of, it's. I don't think it really belongs on a dating profile. It's just like really not doing him any favors.
It's not at all. Yeah.
Okay, next up we got the
So
indoor low
it's
light
a
selfie.
selfie. The lighting is poor. He kind of looks red. Yeah, it's yeah, just not a good one.
I will say, as far as like looks, I feel like he probably looks the most attractive
Yeah, that's
in
true.
this photo.
Yeah,
Like he did catch himself at a good angle there, but yeah, the lighting is just dog shit.
yeah.
Like it's really bad
Oh
lighting.
my God, look at the last one.
Oh man.
I
Okay.
don't want to be mean if that's like their mom, but like, holy fuck, like what is going
Yeah.
on here?
Yeah. This is a tough one. You know what it looks like, man, is if a girl's swiping on this profile, it looks like the guy went to one wedding and does nothing other than talk about dogs and play with dogs.
It looks like that lady's like I don't know, was told by her doctor that she shouldn't eat anymore, and she's trying to go to the buffet, and they're all trying to hold her down.
Oh
Like,
my
"No, don't
god.
do it! Don't do it! Don't go!"
You're a bad man, Alex.
Yeah, if you're the dude from this photo, I'm sorry, I'm just fucking around, but yeah, that's just kind of the vibe it gives off.
Yeah. Yeah. This profile, what would you rate this out of 10 in general?
He's probably like a 5.56 in terms of looks. This profile is a like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's rough.
And that's
It's
the
pretty
pattern
rough.
I see time and time again. People looking worse than they do than their sexual market value. If you look at my profile, it's the opposite. I look better than I do right now, right? Like you're gonna be to the point where you're gonna be like, damn, dude, you're like low key catfishing these girls. You don't look
Yeah.
anything like, right? But with every single other guy, it's the other way around. They look significantly worse in their profile than they do in real life.
Yeah. Like why shoot yourself in the foot, right?
Yeah,
He's got some prompts too, actually. Let's see.
Mike Kratz coffee. Well, I would say the prompts are not going to matter when the photos are that bad, but
Hmm.
direct deposits, clean kitchen, water plants. We need more vacation time and more dogs. Someone will open honest, positive, and like like yeah, it's super basic. It's not going to help or hurt in any way, but
Hmm.
it's super duper basic. He played it super safe in the bio.
There's one prompt I've been using on Hinge, and this is just some secret sauce for people who make it to this part of the video. It's just I get so many likes on it.
Mm.
Is the prompt is my what is it? My guilty pleasure or my simple pleasure? Seeing people who were mean in high school join pyramid schemes.
Yeah, one good one that I found out randomly is we'll get along if, and then you say you don't steal my hoodie. A lot of girls wind up liking that.
Oh yeah, that's classic.
Yeah. Or like the hallmark of a good relationship is, and then you say communication and great sex. Or
Ooh.
a shower thought I recently had, you don't even want to know with the devil emoji because then the girl's like, oh no, I do want to know. Tell me.
Oh man, that one sounds lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might rock that one.
So
Okay.
this is terrible. Again, you should be like somewhat center of attention. He's only taking up like 25% of this photo. Um, Also, the way the hat is, it's like shading his eyes. You don't know what he looks like by looking at this photo. Like after looking at a photo, the girl should know exactly what you look like. As of
Hmm.
now, we have barely any idea what he looks like.
And he's got what I call the floating head syndrome too. Just like literally a head on a screen.
Mm,
No
mm,
context as to like where he is, what's going on.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
so he's got
again,
the action shot here.
we still have no idea what he looks like. This could be fine as number 5 or 6 to show that he does shit,
Hmm.
although it does look like he kinda shit his pants, but I think that's just the harness. Uh, but But yeah, like again, we still have no idea what he looks like, and we're 2 photos in.
It's stuff like this too. I think this is like a good opportunity to throw a video in there as well. Like it's one thing if you have like a nice action shot that's like well taken, clearly shows what you look like, it's kind of close up. But if you're doing something this zoomed out of like you doing an activity like rock climbing, especially if you don't kind of show your face in it, I think it's a good opportunity to throw in like a quick video, like a 5 second boomerang, kind of like looping type video.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, like, a photo like this will be totally neutral. It won't help or hurt in any way,
Mhm.
but it's not gonna help in any way.
I think he's like on that off chance that a girl is also into rock climbing, she'd be like, "Oh fuck yeah,"
Yeah, maybe, yeah,
but that's pretty rare.
yeah.
Okay, next up we got the dog
Again, we
photo
we
on the
still don't
boat.
really we still don't really know what he looks like. We're 3 photos in, and we don't really know what he looks like. The girl most girls at this point have already gone bored, and they swipe left because they still don't know what he really looks like. Um, I don't think he's in good enough shape to be taking shirtless photos. He's way too pale for it, so he definitely has to, like, get a
Mhm.
tan first. He's not in good enough shape for it, and we still can't really see what he looks like.
Yeah, this one is pretty tough. That's the thing that jumped out to me first is just the paleness.
Yeah, yeah, he's
The
really pale.
I think it'd be nice too if the dog was like looking at the camera so we can kind of check out the pup too.
Yeah. I mean,
Like he
yeah,
couple elements here like, boats and dogs are usually like a good sign, but just not really executed as well as it could be here.
yeah. Let's see the next one. Okay, now 4 photos in and we know what he looks like. Okay, that's good. So we finally kind of know what he looks like. Now, I really find it weird when people have a mustache without a beard. I don't think that's a good look. So
Mhm.
either he should grow out the beard or shave the mustache. But that combination of mustache without a beard, I've never seen look good on anyone. That's typically like the police officer look, right? So he just kind of looks like a narc. Um, I think he looks like he has a nice head of hair, so I'm not sure why he's wearing the hat like that. Uh,
Mhm.
but it's too close also. He's just too close to the camera, and it's a selfie. So yeah, those are the issues.
Yeah, again, a nice floating head pick. Like this is the first one where we can kind of tell what he looks like, but I think the real element of a good photo is you've got to clearly show what you look like and show yourself at your best. Like you want to kind of satisfy
Yeah,
both of those.
yeah,
And
for
yeah,
sure.
the pedo stash definitely not doing him any
Yeah, oh
favors
yeah,
here.
that's a good way of putting it. The pedo stash. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just gonna be a bit of a turn off. Okay, last up we got the lads in the
Uh,
lake. Couple
okay,
beers.
yeah. This okay. First of all, you never take photos with people taller than you. All these people are taller than him, so he looks like a midget by comparison. It's a bunch of very pale dudes touching each other in a wet environment with their shirts off. Again, like a slightly homoerotic look, even though it's probably like his family, because they kind of look alike. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're not in good enough shape to be shirtless. You're way too pale for it. If you are going to be shirtless, don't be with other guys. And yeah, like just so many issues. So
Yeah,
this guy's probably like a 5 in terms of looks. I can't really value it because I still don't really know exactly what he looks like or how tall he is. But I would say he's between a 5 and 6 in terms of looks. This profile is like maybe a 1 or 2 out of 10, probably like 2 out of 10.
he's not giving us a lot to work with, man. Just
Yeah. But this guy, if it like if this guy's watching it, like you don't beat yourself up too much because this is like all the profile. I see profiles like this all day, every day. Well, I do like sometimes I do these streams. It's called like Tinder profile review. So literally, all I do is just have people email in me their Tinder photos, and I review them for 2 hours. And hour in, I'm just like a robot. I'm like, we post and you gotta
yeah,
I don't know. It's just the same feedback over and over again. And these are people who watch my channel, and they should have all the tips, but they're not being applied correctly.
it gets repetitive, man. Like I used to do profile reviews as a service, and I felt like it started to get to the point where every single guy had the same
Same
mistakes
mistakes over and
over
over.
and it's like, to film a 30-minute video of me saying the same shit every day over and over again, like I went insane, man. Like it
I
was
know.
I
Dude,
had to
people
stop
will ask
doing
me,
it.
"Alex, can you do another Tinder profile review? I really need feedback on my Tinder." I'm like, "Okay, I will do it, but if your Tinder sucks, I swear to God." And then I'm like, you've never covered this on your channel." I'm like, "Okay." First thing, bam, can't see the face, too pale. I'm like, "Dude, I have 5 videos on this topic.
Yeah,
What do you mean I've never
it's
covered this?"
it's frustrating, man, but every guy thinks, "No, no, no, my profile is different though." Like I don't know why I'm not getting matches, but there must be some unique thing that you haven't said yet. And
I
in
think it's because 'cause I'm
reality,
shadow banned. That's usually the reason I hear.
yeah.
I think I'm shadow banned.
Yeah, it's because I don't pay for gold. That's why they won't show me any of the girls who like me. It's funny, man. Like, there's this old adage, like 20% of men are getting all the matches on Tinder,
Yeah.
and a lot of people say that means like, hey, that means the top 20% of the best looking guys are getting all the matches on Tinder. But after reviewing profiles, and you see this, I see this, reviewing just hundreds and hundreds of these profiles, I think it's safe to say like 80% of guys have no idea what they're doing when it comes to putting together
I think
a
it's
profile.
higher. I think it's 90 plus from what
Yeah.
I've seen. Like I've gone on Tinder as a girl and swiped, and I would say it's like over 90% have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah. Which honestly, bro, like if you do know what you're doing, it makes it fairly easy to compete.
Furthermore, you combine with the fact that most guys have really shitty text game. So you have a good profile and you have a good text game, you're part of like 1% of guys, 1 or 2%.
Absolutely, man. I've got one more profile here if you
Yeah,
want to take a look at it.
yeah. Let's crack into it.
Okay. Okay, here we've got Manu.
All right, I think I'm seeing already. Oh, actually, this might be one of the better ones.
I think it's probably the best one we've looked at.
Yeah, this guy looks a little familiar. It's hard to tell when we're doing the zoomed in thing because I can't tell if the photo is poor quality or it's the fact that we're zooming in.
I think that's the zoom in this case. It
Yeah,
looks, yeah.
it's just kind of hard to see. He looks a little artificial in this photo. I don't know why. Has it been over edited or I don't know. With this photo, I would really need to see a full length version to give him accurate
Mhm.
feedback. But he's got the right idea. I just need to see. It just kind of looks a little weird with the
Yeah,
colors, so I'd have to see it closer.
that's fair. He does look a little airbrushed. Maybe it's just like,
Yeah, so something feels off about it. That's basically
mhm,
what I'm trying to say. But I
that's
don't
fair.
know what it is until I see like the full length version. Uh, yeah, again, it's just like the bro photos. Like I'm always saying no on those. Like it's just like you, another dude, arms around each other. It's like I don't think this photo hurts him. I just don't think it helps him either.
Yeah. I think it's nice, like, he is kind of the taller, in better shape one of the 2.
Yeah,
But it's not like this isn't a photo that's gonna be like, "Oh my god, I need to match this guy."
yeah. Uh, looks a little flamboyant and gay, but this is a movie, so we'd have to watch the movie.
Mhm.
Honestly, we can't really evaluate.
Yeah, definitely missing some context there. Outfit looks pretty fire too.
Yeah, he has pretty good style from what I've seen so far. Okay, this is actually like a potentially good social circle photo. Like it's got some faults. It's at nighttime and the
Mhm,
lighting is iffy, but this is more or less like the people look cool, the girls are attractive.
mhm.
It looks like they're having fun. Like he's got the right idea here, at least.
He's got the red carpet too, a little bit of like a status
Yeah,
flex.
yeah. Like he's got that's like again, if I had my choice, I would make this photo during the daytime. I don't fix the lighting, but other than that, it would
Mhm.
be pretty good. Okay, fifth one looks okay. It looks pretty good. It's like a landscape photo. The sixth one looks really gay, but the fifth one looks okay.
I think the 5th one's cool, like, I like these full body photos when the background is worth the photo being zoomed out enough to actually show the background, and this is one of
Yeah,
those rare examples where, like, he doesn't just have a bunch of trees behind him and looks like he's just at a random park, like, there's actually an incredible view there with
yeah,
mountains, so
yeah.
that's kind of a nice artistic
The
photo.
fifth one is good. That should be his main one, honestly. But the sixth
Mhm.
one, hard no. I don't know what the fuck he's wearing, but he has to take it off and never wear it again. Sir, if you keep this outfit in your closet, please do me a favor and burn it. You should not wear that as a straight man.
You know what? This actually might be a thing where, like, girls might get through this guy's profile, be like, "Oh, yeah, you know what? He's not bad," and then this photo might be just shooting him in the foot. It's his very last photo too, so, like, his last impression is just
Yeah, this
it's
like
tough.
if you combine that, the second photo combined with the third photo combined with the last photo, it's like yeah, this guy might be gay. Like, and
Mhm.
I severely doubt he's gay because he's like asking us for feedback. He's almost definitely straight, but it doesn't matter what we think; it matters what the girl thinks. And I'm telling you, girl sees that second photo, she's like, she sees that third photo, and then she sees that sixth photo, she's like, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's a no from me. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely want to kind of double down on these 3 on the left here,
yeah.
this
Basically,
corner.
you should not look gay in your profile. That's the takeaway.
Well, if you're trying to get girls, it's probably not gonna help, eh?
Yeah, yeah. If you're like, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I don't discriminate. If you're on like Grindr or something like that, then yeah, like like that could be pretty good. But I'm assuming that's not what this guy's going for.
Yeah, I'd assume not as well, buddy. So No, those are that's some really good feedback, and honestly, shout out to those kings for putting themselves in the dragons den here, throwing their profiles at us and letting them critique. Definitely takes a lot of balls to put yourself out there like that. So shout out to all these guys, and hopefully the feedback's tangible, and you can make some good changes there as well.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully it helps. Let's do you want to pull up my Instagram so we can show them like what's a good photo?
Yeah,
Because
man.
I always hate criticizing without showing like alternative, right? Because I don't want
Mhm.
people to feel hopeless. I want them to like also see like what they should do.
Yeah, we don't
It's
want to bring up
important.
the problems, not the solutions here.
Yeah, yeah. But now keep in mind, not every photo I have on Tinder I would use on not every photo I have on Instagram I would use on Tinder, right? Some of these
Mhm.
photos I would only use on Instagram. In terms of social proof, I would say the one, if I was to go for that angle, that one I have with the two girls is pretty good. But again, like that's a famous porn star. I think most people would not be able to like get that kind of photo. You see, like we're having fun. It's like a podcast. Like it's not just me and one girl. It's like two girls. It's like it just looks fun, right? So that could be like a decent social proof photo. It's not ideal, but it's decent. Um, so let's X out of that. But the one I want to go down to is go to the one like the one where I have the drink in my hand. That's a photo I use, right? And that's I think a great photo again.
Yeah.
It's the background is blurred, lighting is good. I look good. My clothes fit me well. It looks like I'm doing something, right? It looks like I'm waiting for some like hot babe to show up on the date, but it's not clear, right? It's not like I have a girl in the photo, so it doesn't look like I'm trying hard. Um, yeah, that's like the kind of photo that like I think would be good that guys can do.
It's really nice too, like nice blurred out background. You're
Yeah.
super in focus. So just like well executed
You
photo.
can clearly see what I look like. Like a
Mhm.
girl seeing this photo, she's not gonna be like, "I wonder what he looks like." Like you know what I look like when you see this photo.
Totally. Is this one of the examples of like you using Facetune?
Face app?
Oh,
Yes,
sorry, Face app.
on this one, we did use some face app, yeah.
Nice. Do you have a tutorial on your channel of like how to use Face app?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
But I'll actually even show you photos where I don't have face app because I only started using it recently. Okay,
Mhm.
let's go down. So for example, like the one where I'm holding the YouTube plaque, I would never use that on Tinder. That would be like way too try hard. But for Instagram, it's okay. But I would never use a photo like that for Tinder. Uh,
That's a big flex right there.
yeah, but again, not for Tinder. I like the one. Go to the right of that of the white. Yeah, this is a good one. This is one I use. Uh,
Damn, look at this guy.
yeah, that's a really good photo. Really
Yeah,
good.
man.
Uh,
It looks so professionally taken, eh?
it was, yeah. I'm looking at the camera, but I think that's okay once in a while.
Mhm.
But
I
everything else
actually
is on
sorry, go ahead.
point. No,
I
that's me.
I was gonna say I actually really like this photo too.
It's a decent photo. I probably would not use it on my Tinder. I think the other ones are better, but the reason I wouldn't use this on my Tinder is because it's a little posed
Mhm.
versus the other ones look a little bit more natural.
Whereas like this one's just like more natural.
Yeah,
Mhm. Okay.
but for Instagram, that's okay, right? Okay, let's keep going down.
This one too.
Yeah, I would not use that on my again too posed for Tinder. I think, but for
Yeah.
Instagram, it's okay. Uh,
Is there anything you wouldn't include on an Instagram profile if a guy is, sending traffic there from dating apps or girls that he meets in person?
anything where you don't look good, anything like where you look potentially gay or you don't look good. Even if the photos, my some of my Instagram photos are a little posed, I look good in all these photos. There's no
Mhm.
photo on my Instagram where I look bad. Uh, okay, let's go to the one where I'm sitting shirtless. Let's pull that up.
Okay.
So this is not this was before I knew about FaceApp. So everything we're gonna see from here on down, there's not FaceApp. It hasn't been FaceApp. But yeah, this is like a good example of like a shirtless photo. Again, it's like, I'm like chilling in the jacuzzi, right? Cool background. Looks like I'm waiting for somebody or something like that. That's like a decent shirtless photo that you could use.
Flexing the tattoo a little bit as well.
Yeah, but without making it seem like I'm posing, but secretly I am.
Now,
Let's
the quality on this one definitely lower than the last
Oh yeah,
couple.
this is an iPhone. Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
say it's strategic to like throw a couple iPhone photos and a couple pro photos, or does it matter? Like, what are
You
your
know,
thoughts on that?
I've never thought about that, but yeah, I can see that making sense. I never
Mhm.
thought about that though.
I think it helps because like one comment that I get from some women on my dating apps is that like, oh, like what's your Instagram or like send me a photo. Like I don't know if you're real, that kind of
Mm,
stuff. Because I use a lot of pro photos. It's
yeah,
similar to what you're saying earlier. Like if a guy's a 10 out of 10 or like a model or something like that, putting a selfie to kind of like prove that he's real.
Mm,
not too polished. Maybe that's something that can help as well.
yeah. All right, let's keep going down. Okay, the motorcycle photo is one I use. I think that's a pretty good one. So this is actually this one does have face app. All I did was give myself a smile. That's the only part of
Hmm.
this photo that's face app. Everything else is natural. But yeah, on a motorcycle, this is not even my bike. This belonged to actually my delivery driver. But I was like, yo, man, you have a badass bike. He's like, thanks. I'm like, can I pop some photos on that? He's like, yeah. And then, we took some photos, like 40, 50 photos, and this one came out good.
With the
Um,
dog too.
yeah, the dog. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a pretty good one. Let's keep going down.
So you could pop a smile on yourself with this app, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whoa, that's revolutionary.
Um, okay, let's keep going down. Let's keep going down. None of these I think are that great. Go to the barbecue one. I think this is a really good one. This was taken on an iPhone, but I think it's good. This is not face tapped or anything like that. Again, really cool background. I look good in it. Good lighting, a good angle. Uh,
Mhm.
looks natural. That's a solid photo. And this was taken on an iPhone by a friend.
Oh, nice. Are you at all worried that there's like no steaks on the grill or like no smoke coming off?
Well, you can't really see it too well, so I'm not too
Yeah.
worried.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, we didn't have anything on the grill. All right, let's keep going down. Let's do the one where I'm pouring wine. That's a good one. Yeah, this is another good one. Also taken on us. This actually, my mom took this photo, but this was taken an iPhone, like an iPhone from like 3 years ago too. So it's not even as good as current technology. But
Mhm.
this was around 6 p.m. Light, sun is starting to set. Good lighting. Looks natural. Looks like I'm just pouring some wine. I'm dressed well. Like everything's on point about this photo, and this is not face tapped either.
Mhm. And this is another one with like, definitely like a lower quality camera than some of the more polished ones. That's one thing I will say about iPhone photos. Like you said earlier, like the iPhone is getting really, really good. But there
Yeah,
was a period where like you could almost tell what year
yeah,
a
yeah,
photo was taken
yeah.
in based on like what iPhone it was taken with.
100%, yeah, yeah. But these are all photos from like 3 or 4 years ago. Let's go take a look at
Mhm.
one last one. Scroll down. The one where I have the sunglasses. I think that's a really good photo. Sometimes I use that as my main photo for a long time.
Mhm.
This is not face app, but this is taken on a professional camera. This is in Poland actually, but it's a good photo. Generally, I don't like photos in sunglasses, but I think it works in this one. Um, I did use a filter on this. If I posted when I use this photo on Tinder, I won't use a filter.
Mhm.
Uh, for a while, I used filters on Instagram, and then I realized that you shouldn't do that based on feedback I got from girls. So I think without the filter, this would look even better. But I don't know why. But for a period of time, I just always used a filter on Instagram because I thought that's what you were supposed to do.
For a while it was the thing, and then it kind of became chuggy.
Yeah, yeah. I just
You
had
know,
too many girls say, "Yeah, I find it weird when a guy uses a filter." And then when I heard that like at least 20 times, I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to that.
worth listening to at that point.
Yeah, but that's basically it. I mean, the dog
Nice.
photo is okay, I guess, but you can kind of see that's basically, the photos that we'll use.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Overall, like you've got a pretty tight Instagram too, though.
yeah,
I feel like it just gets better over time too.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I do have like a big advantage in the fact that a lot of photographers will just like message me and shoot photos of me for free in
That's
exchange
so.
for like a tag, which is
Mhm.
like I'm very fortunate in that sense. And then like, for example, like like doing a podcast with porn star, like that's not something that's available to the average person. So I will fully acknowledge that I have a little bit of an advantage, but that advantage you can only see like in the last 9 or 10 photos. If we go below that, that's like back when like no one knew who the fuck I was.
Yeah, you're kind of back to normal after that.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got like a cool seminar photo too, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of sweet. A little bit of social proof for you.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of social proof right there. Like that's the kind of social proof I like, where you're like
Hmm.
you're a leader basically.
Yeah, man, that looks good. Why don't I should pull up some of my profile photos too?
Sure. Oh yeah, I remember we saw this when we were on my channel. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a pretty good one. I like that one. That's like a nice social proof one. The only thing I don't like about it is black and white. They found in that OK Cupid study that black and white photos, or maybe it was a different study, but it's pretty definitive. Black and white photos do slightly worse than colored photos. So I
Mm.
for that reason I always say like don't do black and white, do color.
That's really interesting because like when I put that filter on that photo, I feel like it just pops so much more. I have another example of like what it would look like in color as well. We took one for my buddy Devin here in color. kind of
Uh,
same night.
but that's a totally different photo.
Yeah. So I also have this photo on my
Yeah,
profile too.
that's a really good photo. It's natural. Looks like you're having fun. Yeah, that's a solid photo.
What I like about this photo is it kind of looks like I'm doing like a power slide on the ice, like celebrating a goal, but it's like completely staged, like totally posed.
Well, I don't think most girls even know what that is, but yeah, I think it's just a good photo because it looks
Maybe not in
natural.
Miami. In Canada, it's definitely
Oh, maybe, yeah,
a little more common for sure. I've also got this photo
it's
on my
pretty good.
profile. This is like usually I'll usually throw this one up like first or last as kind of like a good first or last impression.
It's a little posed. That's my only issue with it, but other than that, it's really solid.
Mhm. Oh, I also like just the color in it too. Like the blues all kind of like are just
Yeah,
very easy on the eyes. Even the red is just like very like simple.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty nice. All right. So this is like what I consider my kind of social proof
Yeah,
photo.
that's a good way of doing social proof. Like, yeah, like that's cool. I like that.
Mhm.
That's good.
I've also experimented with this in black and white as well, and I love the way it looks in black and white. But right now I'm rocking color with it as
I would
well.
just, yeah, I don't know. Like, I would just based on that study, I would just avoid black and white. You know,
Mhm.
like data doesn't lie. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, but
Yeah, I think the logic behind why I do it, just kind of like unpacking it, is we always say like photos indoor or at night, the lighting is usually just dog shit. And in this photo, it is pretty good, but you still kind of get those like weird like green and purple tints to it. And by putting that
I
in
think
black
that's
and white, it kind of
fine.
gets rid of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely if I was you, I would just keep it color.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being nitpicky here. This is kind of like my
Yeah,
adventure shot.
that's a solid photo. The background is really cool. Not as first, but as like third or fourth. Yeah, this is a solid photo.
Mhm. I've noticed too, like a lot of girls love country guys as well,
Oh,
especially in the city.
okay, that makes
'Cause
sense.
yeah, it's just something different, right? Like, there's not a lot of country guys there, so you just kinda stand out a little bit, but I if I could change anything about this photo, man, it'd be, like, having some cowboy boots on instead of, like,
Oh,
hiking shoes and dad socks. I kinda get torn apart for it.
oh, really? Oh, I
Yeah.
barely noticed it.
Girls, man, they notice everything.
Mhm.
And then I also have this photo on my profile as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It looks natural. Generally, I'm not a big fan of like caps, but I think it looks fine because in other photos you're showing off your hair. So
Mhm.
um, I think sometimes guys think they're being like slick and covering up the fact that they're balding with their caps, but like girls are smart. They know what the fuck you're doing. But it's fine here because you've shown other photos where you have hair. Um, but yeah, it looks natural. I like that part.
I would say the hair is actually, like, one of the first things girls look for. So if you're rocking a cap in your first photo and your second photo, like, it kinda becomes a red flag at that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, even if you are bald, like, it's something just, like, flaunt it, like, be proud of
Yeah,
it,
it's better just to own it, so than to look like you're trying to cover it up.
100%. But yeah, those are pretty much the main kind of photos that I use on my profile right now.
Yeah, that's solid. I would say my favorite is the social proof one that you have. I think that's a really good photo. I like the outdoors one a lot too. The hockey one is dope. Those 3 are my favorite.
Yeah.
Uh, the other ones are good, but I would say they're not quite as good as these ones.
This is another one I had on for a while as well,
See,
but
this is an interesting one because you look really good, but the it looks also posed, so it's like pros and
mhm,
cons. It is
super pose, yeah.
superposed. Why would you be wearing an outfit that nice in like a shitty part of the city? Right? It's like you're just dressed way too nice for that part of town.
Yeah. I think the big reason I changed it too is my hair. This is like my quarantine hair, so it's just super grown out, like all crazy.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's just not really like consistent with like the kind of clean cut look that I have throughout the rest of my profile. And that's one thing I've noticed is like girls want to know like which version of you is kind of showing up to the date. So
Yeah.
I try to keep the look like very consistent and all
Yeah,
within like
yeah, you're
one or
right.
2 years as
Yeah,
well.
that's very important, yeah. It should be consistent.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, solid. I would rate this
Body.
profile like a 8.5 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10.
Yeah, thanks, bro. It's definitely pulling pretty well.
Versus in terms of look, I would rate you like a 7.5 out of 10. So
That's pretty generous.
you're like, your profile is better than your looks, but that's good. That's what you want.
Is there anything that you would add to the profile, like a photo that you think would like kind of take it over the top?
I think like some kind of like badass activity photo, like you on a motorcycle or you wearing a suit, maybe pouring wine or you barbecuing. Uh,
Mhm.
like I would swap out the photo where you're sitting, like with your arms out, to like a really good activity photo. I think
Okay.
that really good, and a shirtless photo. If you got those two things, and a dog photo, you'd be like a 9.5/10 out
Oh,
of 10.
dude, I'm missing a dog photo. I can't believe I take dog photos of guys all the time and I don't even have one.
Yeah, and a shirtless photo. Those are two like are yeah the photos that most girls swipe right on according
Yeah.
to Cupid.
Good to know. Good to know. Hell yeah. Well, hey Alex, I know man, we've been running this for quite a while and I feel like this video is just so packed with some absolute gems, buddy.
Yeah, it's been
Um,
dope.
yeah, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel. And I also enjoyed doing a video on yours as well. And I recommend, everyone who's watching this to go check out Playing with Fire on YouTube. Just an absolute plethora of insanely valuable content, some very entertaining content as well, too. You do some pretty
Yeah,
funny Tinder experiments as
there's a
well.
lot of entertainment there for sure. I try to do
Totally.
infotainment, but yeah, man, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, it was fun to have you on. We'll have to get you on again. Maybe we can do like a panel or something, like me, you, and a few other like Tinder experts, and we can just all do like a roundtable discussion about Tinder. I'll have to think of because there's not actually no one else I know that's good at Tinder. So I'll have to think of like who would actually be on that. Oh, maybe Andy from Kill Your Inner Loser. He could be a good fit.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, maybe like one more person, and we could have like a very interesting like roundtable discussion or something.
Yeah, that'd be dope, man. I'd be super down. And I guess Alex, like in closing, tell people where they can find you and all that fun stuff as well.
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Playing with Fire. I make 5 videos a week. I have a lot of good content on there. Pretty much any question you have about Tinder, online dating, SMV, getting laid, I probably have at least 3 videos answering it. Also, if you prefer reading instead of watching videos, you can go on playingfire.com under tips and guides. Most of the stuff I have videos on, I also have like a written version for people who prefer to read. Like me personally, I actually prefer reading
Hmm.
than watching videos. So, but most people are not like me. And then also, I have on my website, I have like lay reports. So if you want to see like proof of concept, I have like at least 30 or 40 of girls I've hooked up with, from like the opener to the part where they said like I had so much fun, and like everything in between. So you can see like how I text girls and stuff like that. Yeah, just lots of free guides and stuff like that. We also have forums.playingfire.com. So if you have questions, you can ask, and I try to check that like twice a week, answer people's questions for free. And also, it's like a good community of guys. So if you're like trying to network and stuff like that, we have I think over 1,000 people in the forums now. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, I would say those are like the big things.
Awesome, man. And I'll put a link to all that in the description of the video as well. And people can, I definitely recommend check out your channel, check out your blog. And bro, really appreciate all the good work you do. Keep it up, man. Keep
Thanks, man.
fighting the good
Likewise.
fight out there.
Likewise. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, bro.